this is Leah Lennox with Chess Vets, here to present Learn How to Play Chess in Just 8 Minutes. The king, the queen, the rook, the bishop, the knight, and the pawn. The king, the queen, the rook, the bishop, the knight, and the pawn. The white square always goes on your right side. Remember that right and white rhyme. If the chessboard has coordinates on it, such as numbers and letters, the white pieces are always set up on the one side. A memory aid is that George Washington, USA's first president, has a white wig. The rooks look like the corners of castles and are on the corners of the chessboard. The knights. They look like horses and guard the castles. The bishops. Next to the knights go the bishops. They advise the king and queen on kingdom affairs. The queen. Next, place the queen on her piece-colored square. That way, she will be color coordinated. The king. He goes next to the queen. That way he can hold her hand. Aww! The pawns then form the castle wall. The king can travel to any safe adjacent square. He is king after all. He does not move fast because of his scout attacks. He has a special move that is covered later. The rook moves horizontally or vertically as many spaces as possible. They do not jump unless castling. The bishop travels diagonally. A light square bishop can never be on a dark square. The opposite can be said for a dark square bishop. The queen moves just like a rook and a bishop combined. The knights move in an L shape by jumping. Horses do jump, you know. Wherever the pieces land, it captures an enemy piece. Sneaky. Do you see the circle of X's around the knight? The pawns move 1 or 2 spaces on their first move, then 1 space every move after that. It never goes backwards. If blocked, it cannot move. When they reach the far end of their march, they promote to any piece except another pawn or king. The pawn is the only piece that moves and attacks differently. The pawn attacks 1 square forward diagonally. It also has a special attack, en passant, that is covered later in this video. Imagine a Roman soldier. He either rushes in or walks into a battle. While on the battlefield, he slowly moves forward. When moving straight forward, his advance is halted by his large shield to either friend or foe. He then attacks forward with a short sword diagonally. After moving to the far end of the battleground, he is rewarded by being promoted to anything except the commanding general. Castling is a special move that allows 2 pieces to be moved, the king and a rook, during the same turn. In castling, the player first moves their king left or right 2 spaces towards one of their rooks. Then that rook jumps over the king. Each player may castle once per game when all of these conditions are met. Neither the king nor the rook involved has moved. This is true even if the piece goes back to its start square. The king may not castle if currently attacked. The king may not move through a square that is currently under attack. There may not be any other pieces between the king and rook involved. This is a special pawn capture. It occurs when a player moves 2 squares on its first move and sneaks around an opponent's pawn. The opponent's pawn can legally capture the advancing pawn exactly as it would have just moved 1 square. It must be made directly following the advancing pawn's move. When a king is being threatened by an opponent's piece and cannot avoid, block, or capture legally, the game is over. Remember to go through your ABCs every time your king is attacked. It is normally advantageous to capture if possible. You can also win if your opponent resigns. You win if you are playing with a chess clock and your opponent runs out of time, if you notice. Chess is unlike most games. There can be a draw. It happens all the time. There are several ways this can occur. A draw is offered after a move is made and accepted. It does not need to be accepted, however. If the other player makes a move, then the offer is voided. Insufficient material to mate. Example, just the kings remain on the board. 50 moves made by each player without a capture or pawn movement. Triple occurrence of positions. The exact same position on the board occurs 3 times. The repetition does not have to repeat itself. When it is a player's move and their king is not in danger and cannot make a legal move, the game is a stalemate and therefore a draw. Example, if it is black's turn to move, the game is a stalemate. Playing the game. White goes first. Each player then moves after the other. Skipping a turn is not allowed. Either player cannot move a piece if it will put their or your king, or leave their or your king attacked. In conclusion, teach others to play or just share the Chess Vets channel and we will teach them. Have fun! This is Leah Lennox signing out for Chess Vets.
I'm asking you to subscribe, like, and share if you like this video. The reason why is because we absolutely hate to basically ask for money. And if you just do this simple task, it allows us to make some money from YouTube. So thank you very much. Have a nice day.